So we'll start the stream with our Champions League predictions. So the first game will be Union Berlin versus Braga. This is game week 2. So in Union Berlin in game week 1, they lost 0-1 to Real Madrid, and Braga lost 1-2 to Napoli. But both of these teams are talented teams. I don't see anything much happening, and so I see a draw happening of 1-1. That will take Braga to that will still make them be number 3 and number 4. So next one is Salzburg versus Sociedad. Salzburg took a surprising win against Benfica 2-0 the first match, and Sociedad took a surprising draw against Inter Milan. Both of them were underdogs in the first matches. So I see initially I was going to go for 1-1, but I'm changing it to 1-2 win for Real Sociedad. The reason why I was going for 1-1 initially was because to make it more competitive. But if Real Sociedad wins, it will bring Real Sociedad to second place and Inter Milan would drop to third place. So the next match is Man United versus Galatasaray. Man United has been on poor form in their league form. So they've had a poor start to the league, and also to the Champions League. They gave us a tracking 7-match thriller. Even though I personally believe Bayern Munich could have won by more if they were more clinical. Even though Man United lost 3-4 to Bayern Munich in the first match, it was still a good performance. Then Galatasaray flew 2-2 to Copenhagen. Copenhagen that had 10-man, and then the Copenhagen that was before the red card winning 2-0. So Galatasaray managed to claw their way back, and they needed that red card to grab a point against Copenhagen. So, and both teams are like almost the same. So I went for a slight victory of Man United to 2-1 because I know United will be looking to earn points, especially since they're fourth in that group. So with a win, that will take them to second, and Galatasaray will climb to remain at third place, while Copenhagen will fall to fourth place. So the next match is Copenhagen versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich had an interesting first match, 4-3 win against Man United, and that was at home. While Copenhagen could have had their first win if it wasn't for the red card that limited their chances of winning. That enabled Galatasaray to climb back and take a point off them in the last minute and draw 2-2 in the first match. So Bayern Munich coming into this match, traveling to the Denmark capital to face Copenhagen, they'll come in as favourites. So I see them getting a resounding victory of 3-1 that match. So the next match is Arsenal versus Lens. Arsenal beat PSV 4-0 in the first match. It was a predictable game, but Nobody predicted a 4-0 smashing by Arsenal. That was a that was a good performance. And then Lens drew 1-1 with Seville. Seville has, even towards the end of last season, had a poor form. And also this season, that form has been shaking as well. So a draw to Seville is a good draw, considering that most people were rooting for Seville in the first match. So Arsenal will come into this match like not to be an easy match for Arsenal. But if they manage to beat PSV 4-0, then they're allowed to change the prediction from 2-1 victory for Arsenal to 1-3 victory for Arsenal. Because I feel like Lens will score a goal and Arsenal will win by 3 goals margin, by 2 goal difference. So the next match is PSV versus Seville. So Seville took a draw against Lens in the first match, and then PSV lost to Arsenal 4-0. But both teams are, can say, PSV, let me check PSV's form, but I'm sure PSV had like a good form. Hello, Manny.
Yeah, evening, Carl. Sorry, I would have joined you at least 5 minutes earlier, but suddenly the computer switched off on me and switched on again. So I do apologize for that.
It's okay. Well, we can start. We can. I can go up. Then you give the predictions. So what's
Sure.
being the Champions League?
So yeah.
Yeah,
And so this is the first game we've got coming up, right?
yeah,
So Union
so
Berlin
same.
against Braga.
Yeah,
Okay. Um, well, obviously Union Berlin didn't have the best of starts, and even Leonardo Bonucci being in that team hasn't really helped very much. But they still have a few more games to play, and Braga also being in that group should be not exactly a very easy opposition. I see you've gone with a 1-1 prediction, and I think I can concur with that. I think both teams are going to look to try and find a footing at least, and I don't see either of them wanting to lose this game. So this could end up being a draw. But instead of it being a 1-1, I think it might be a 2-all draw.
2-2.
Yes.
The reason why I went with 1-1, if you look at Union Berlin lost to Real Madrid 1-0, but that could have been a draw towards the end if
Mm-hmm.
Bellingham didn't score the winner. Then Napoli, then Braga lost to Napoli 2-1. So both teams are going into this match scoring like less than 2 goals. That's why I went with 1-1.
Right.
So this is Salzburg versus Real Sociedad.
Salzburg against Sociedad. I see you've gone for a 2-1 prediction. I'm going to concur with that because you and I can both agree, Kyle, that Sociedad were very, very impressive when they played against Inter Milan. I did say that
Yeah,
the Kieran Tierney Denzel Dumfries duel would be quite key, and Tierney actually had an excellent game before being taken off around the hour mark. Salzburg, of course. How did they do last time around? Last week?
close. They beat Benfica surprisingly 2-0 to this.
Yeah,
Yeah. Then
yeah, and
then
apparently,
Real Sociedad
so
drew surprisingly to Inter Milan 1-1.
yeah, they conceded a late equaliser to, of all people, Lautaro Martinez, who somehow of late has started to score goals. But I think Sociedad are obviously a much better team than Benfica, and are also doing quite well in La Liga as well, picking up some important wins and points. Maybe defensively, they're not quite the best as of yet, still conceding more than a few. But I think they've got more than enough as an all round package to beat Salzburg. So you've gone for 2-1. I think they'll win 2-1 as well.
Initially, I was going to go for like 1-1, but changed it to 2-1.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, Salzburg did well to beat Benfica, but I think that really is as good as the middle get for them.
Uh, it seems like Kano thinks that Slosberg will win against this Sociedad.
Nope. I think it's fair to say that we could look to Inter Milan and Sociedad to qualify from this group, which would be really good for the Spanish team. And Inter Milan, of course, are last season's runner-up, so failure to qualify will be disastrous for them.
Yeah, so the next match is Man United versus Gara Teresa. I went for a 2-1 win
Galatasaray.
against, yeah,
Yeah, this is a game which obviously they are going to have to win after their loss to Bayern Munich. And of course, home hasn't been kind to them with dreadful losses to Brighton and Hove Albion and also to Crystal Palace yesterday. But in the Champions League, this is probably where reputations can be restored in a way. And Ten Hag will have to be really decisive in making a few substitutions. I definitely expect him to bring the likes of Garnacho and Mejibri, Hannibal Mejibri on. Palistri should definitely play. I don't see him giving much chances to the likes of Casemiro and Ericsson because I think it's becoming obvious that they aren't really suited to really tough games. And this should be a game where United, man for man, should be too much for Galatasaray. I know Galatasaray have made some really good acquisitions, including a couple of ex-Tottenham players. But I don't see Galatasaray offering too much opposition at Old Trafford, but United have to be on top of their game. And I see this also ending 2-1 for United. Any win will do. Even if it's a scrappy win, it's something for their fans to look forward to.
yeah. I also think like Man United, we deserve to win we deserve to lose the first match against Bayern Munich, but the way we lost it was an impressive way of losing like 3-4. I don't think anyone expected that, to be honest. Most people expected Bayern Munich to smash United in the first match.
Hmm.
While while the Turkish side,
Yeah.
the Turkish side was, I think by halftime they were losing to the Danish side, but it was only a red card that saved them, and that's what made them get back into the game and draw 2-2. It was a red side
Hmm.
from the Danish side. So looking at that, both scenarios, I see United better than the Turkish side.
Right.
And with a win, it can take Man United to second place. So the next match is Copenhagen versus Bayern Munich. So I've gone for a 3-1 win against Copenhagen.
Yeah, you and I seem to think alike here. And obviously, Bayern were disappointed to draw against Leipzig at the weekend. But so far, they've been able to win most of their games and do well enough to stay in contention. I do worry a bit about Thomas Tuchel, though, because Bayern Munich sacked Nagelsmann, who has since, of course, gone on to coach to be hired as Germany's national team boss, because they weren't happy with the results at that stage. And I think there's going to be a review sometime in the middle of the year if Bayern are not able to get the results they need and show the progress that they want. and it could very well be that Tuchel might be out of a job um, before the new year. So
Yeah.
Munich need to make sure they win the games they're meant to win. And this obviously is a game which I could see in which I could see them scoring more than three. I'm going to go for a 4-1 win.
Also, like something to say about Tuchel, I don't see Tuchel as a man to bring to take Bayern forward. I feel like Bayern made a mistake hiring him and firing Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann was a good manager.
The problem is that
Mm.
Nagelsmann was fired because there were issues, obviously, with the squad harmony and so forth. And even then, they weren't actually. Um, they still, at the time, were also not top of the Bundesliga. So they felt that they had to make a change. And Tuchel was definitely a very far left appointment. I was not expecting him to, be named, especially after the way he got fired um, from his job at Stamford Bridge. But look, as long as he's able to have Munich top of the Bundesliga by Christmas and also comfortably through to the next stage of the Champions League, he should maintain his job at least until the end of the season. But I definitely don't see him sticking around for too long. And Tuchel might probably have to, you know, look for employment elsewhere. But I tell you what, he does have a good CV, and there are some merits to his coaching. So there will be several teams who wouldn't mind having him as their manager.
Yeah, that is true. So the next match is Lens versus Arsenal. I was initially going to go for a 2-1 win, but I changed to a 3-1 victory for Arsenal. What are your thoughts on the match? On this match, upcoming match?
It should be a 3-1 win for the Arsenal, yes. Of course, they scored four against a Bournemouth team that quite simply were never in the game at any particular point. And the problem is, of course, they have to try and maintain that. And they also ran a huge risk when Bukayo Saka hobbled off. It could very well be that he will be rested for this game. But this will be an opportunity for the fringe players to do well. I think the likes of Nelson and Havertz, maybe Trossard, if he is fit, should be able to come back in. And, I just think Arsenal will have a bit too much for Lens. And the way they demolished PSV, yes, we can say that the PSV team are nowhere near as strong as they used to be. But you still have to beat the team that's in front of you. And PSV, quite frankly, were under the cosh from the very beginning and seldom looked like troubling David Raya in the Arsenal goal. Yeah, they had a few opportunities later on, but they were, and Arsenal always had it in control. So 3-1 for me as well. Couldn't agree more with that.
So for next match is PSV versus Seville. I went for a 1-1 draw because yeah,
Mm.
just went for a 1-1 draw. I feel like this is a match that Seville would draw again. What about you?
This actually might be a match which should go some way to deciding who will qualify along with Arsenal from this group. So it will be imperative that either team gets a win. PSV are still top of the Eredivisie, but it's quite clear to see that the quality of football in Holland has taken a huge nosedive in recent years. Ajax have been doing horribly this season, for a start. Um,
Yeah.
I think they still might technically have enough about them in attack to be able to cause some problems. And Sevilla, well, they were in relegation trouble at one point. They were lower. They've started to climb up again, and I just think that this is the type of game which PSV will need to win, given that they're on their home turf, and will obviously need to try and um, yeah, they'll need to try and score some goals and try and win to make sure that they can give themselves a chance. It will be between either of these two teams to see who qualifies along with Arsenal, and I think PSV should be able to pull off the win at home. So I'm going for 2-1 to Eindhoven.
So you're going 2-1 to what? Seville? Oh,
PSV,
oh, oh PSV. And
yes,
that's an interesting prediction. So the next one is Napoli versus Real Madrid. Both teams, both teams have similar like squad strength. So I'm going for 1-1. What about you? What you going? What's your prediction? Hello.
yeah. There are some horrible issues with the Wi-Fi tonight. It might be mine, it might be yours. I'll see if I can change it, change my connection to a hotspot connection. But here as well, I think Real Madrid will need a response after losing to Atletico recently, and I see this finishing 2-1 to the Merengues. 2-1 to Madrid.
You say it's finishing 2-1,
Yes.
but uh, okay. Whether I say it's being at low. So the next one is
Mm,
Inter versus Benfica. This is a repeat of last year's Champions League match. They met last year in the quarterfinals tier, and it was Inter Milan that advanced. So I expect this time Inter to win again, but I expect them
yes.
to win 2-1 against Benfica to get Inter their first victory of the Champions League this season.
Yeah, I'm going 3-1 to Inter Milan. I think Martinez is starting to score goals again, and Benfica also are the same team that lost to Salzburg very unexpectedly, and I think they're not going to be a match for the Italian giants.
So you're going 3-1.
Yes.
So the next match is El Electrico Madrid versus Feyenoord. I'm going for a 2-1 prediction. I feel like Electrico Madrid will have now the confidence since they beat Real Madrid in the league match. And I hope they'll continue that confidence to help them gear up to their first UCL victory of the season. Do you also see the same or you have other views on it?
Yeah, exactly the same. I don't see Atletico scoring three like they did against Real Madrid. I think they're going to try to dominate, but they obviously don't want to concede too many. Feyenoord, of course, are going to give it some effort, but this should be a game where the Atletico defense stands firm against the Dutch. And I'm also going for an Atletico Madrid win, but 2-0. No goals for Feyenoord.
So the next match is Antwerp versus Shakhtar. So I'm going for a 2-2 draw because I don't see anything. There's no big difference between the two teams. And also, both teams lost on both teams conceded 3 goals in the first matches. No, Shakata conceded 3 goals, and at UAP conceded 5 goals. So, what's your thoughts on the match?
I agree with the scoreline and I agree with the prediction. 2-2. I really can't see either of these teams threatening to qualify, and these teams obviously will battle between them to see who goes into the Europa League.
Yes, since both of them are third and fourth. So the
Hmm.
next one is Celtic versus Lazio. Celt, yes,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going for a 2-1 victory against Celtic. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, Celtic had a terrible time against Feyenoord. They started well and very promisingly, but they shouldn't have conceded from the free kick. And I think also seeing a couple of their players get sent off didn't help matters one bit. And this is a game which um, they would like to win, but I don't see them winning. But will they draw? Even then, I don't think they will. So I agree with your prediction. 2-1.
So the next match is Dortmund versus Milan. I see this being a 1-1 draw because in the first match, as Milan, I expected them to beat Newcastle, but Newcastle impressed me. And as Milan, like they performed poorly, they could not find the goal that they needed to win against Newcastle. So it. I see a draw happening here. What about you?
This actually is a game which both sides will need to win. AC Milan were wasteful against Newcastle because clearly they had the better opportunities, but Newcastle defended well. And Dortmund can count themselves perhaps a little bit unlucky, but um, obviously when it came to the game against Paris Saint-Germain, they just weren't able to maintain their concentration and focus. And it was a matter of time before eventually um, the experience of the French side told. With both teams needing a win, I'm actually going for one team to, break the deadlock between them, and that team could very well be AC Milan, because they have, the much better attacking arsenal at the moment. Pun not intended, but Dortmund just look like a team which will work hard and fight hard, but they don't really have that quality they will need to really make an impact in the Champions League group stages. So
So you're going
yeah,
for a loss to Dortmund.
no, I'm going for AC Milan to win, and I'm predicting a 2-1 scoreline.
So the next match is Newcastle versus PSG. I'm going for a PSG win of 2-0. I know most people go for a PSG win of 3-0, but cannot underestimate Newcastle, especially after what they show us that in their performance against Newcastle, against AC Milan, they defended very well and they managed to take a draw out of that match.
I'm going to disagree. I think this is actually the sort of game where, Newcastle will be in for a rude awakening as to what the Champions League is really all about. Because, yes, they performed well to secure a draw against AC Milan, but AC Milan, it must be said, were not quite on the pace. And this is also going to be a sort of the sort of game where Paris Saint-Germain will have a right to expect a win, and anything less will not be good enough for their fans and, of course, themselves. This obviously will boil down to which team can score first. I mean, not which team can score first. I don't see Newcastle opening the scoring at all against PSG. And I just think that it will only be a matter of time before Mbappe and company find their mojo and get going against this determined lot from the northeast of England. Um, Newcastle may score, don't get me wrong, but that's probably going to be as good as it gets. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win for Paris Saint-Germain.
You're going 3-1 win.
Yes.
So the next match is Leipzig versus Man City. This has been a match that we see happening in the recent like Champions League seasons. Like that's this had it's a match that both teams like meet either in the group stage or in the knockout stages. So for this match, I'm going for a 2-1 win. Man City will go for into this match looking to bounce back from the loss against Wolves, and Leipzig will go into this
Yes.
match win and looking to win and also recover from the draw against Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
City should win this 2-1. I'll just be back in a minute, okay? Give me 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah, are you back? So the next match is Red Star versus Young Boys. I don't see much about any of these two teams. So I'll go for a 1-1 prediction.
Sorry,
You're back.
Khan. Had to get something done. So I stopped at Leipzig versus Manchester City. I gave my prediction 2-1
Yeah,
to City.
yeah,
Oh, didn't go too far. So the following game, Red Star Belgrade against the Young Boys from Switzerland, yes?
yes.
So what do you think of this game?
I'm going for a 1-1 draw.
Hmm. For me, Belgrade should win this one 2-1. They were obviously they took the lead against Manchester City, but ended up losing that match. But they showed that they have enough quality to be able to take the initiative in a game such as this. And I just think clearly, they have the desire to do as well as they possibly can, and they can certainly leave a huge impact in this group. Young boys, I don't see them doing very much in this tournament. And how did they do the last time around?
Oh, Young Boys.
Yes.
They lost to Leipzig 3-1 and Red Star lost to Man City 3-1.
Yeah, so the same score.
Yeah,
I think Belgrade have a little bit more in terms of quality, so I'm going for 2-1 to the uh, Serbians.
2-1.
Yes.
So the last match of the Champions League is Barcelona versus Porto. I'm going for a 2-1 prediction. What about you? You're going for what prediction?
Participation, their continued participation in the Champions League will be subject to a lot of doubt, given the controversies in which they find themselves. But you know, even now, they still have the fear factor, which means that teams are going to be very wary of facing them. So yeah, should be a win, straightforward. Not a very convincing looking win, but they'll win this one, 2-1.
So we're going for to the next one, which is the Europa League. So the first match in the Europa League is Freiburg versus West Ham. I predict that one to be a 2-1 victory for Freiburg. What's your thoughts?
Hmm. Yeah, Freiburg obviously, are a team which have had a better recent history when it comes to European football, and I think they should, in theory, have a bit too much for the English side, who are still. I mean, of course, they were in the Europa League the season before last. Then they won the Conference League and are back in it. But again, in reality, this really is only as good as it will get for them. I don't see them progressing further. So yeah, 2-1 to Freiburg.
So the next match is TSC versus Olympiacos. I'm going for a 3-1 prediction against Olympic. Go for a 3-1 prediction for a win for Olympiacos against TSC. What about you?
Hmm. Also a win for Olympiacos, but I think 2-1.
2-1.
Yes.
So the next match is Marseille versus Brighton. I was tempted to go for a 2-1 win for Marseille, but I decided to go for a draw 1-1.
I can look and see how Marseille did yesterday because they were playing a Monaco side who were obviously doing quite well in the French League A. Um, yeah, they lost 3-2 to Marseille and have been struggling in Liga recently. And The only problem with the Brighton team is that their confidence also will be completely shot to pieces following that dreadful result in the Premier League against an Aston Villa team that lost their first Conference League match against Legia Warsaw. And I see Marseille, with their experience and proven quality, being too much for Brighton and Hove Albion. And I think James Milner has not featured. I think he might be injured or maybe out of form. I don't know what the story is. I just think De Zerbi also has had a lot of problems when it comes to, shuffling his team around quite a bit too much, maybe. I think Marseille should win this 2-1.
2-1. So the
Yeah.
next one is Athens versus Ajax. I went for a 3-1 victory for Ajax. What's your thoughts?
I think Athens will win this 2-1 because Ajax have been absolutely horrible this Eredivisie season. They're in the lower half of the table, and they, if you remember, were subject to that particular piece of controversy when they were 3-0 down at home to Feyenoord Rotterdam and then had the game abandoned when some idiot threw flares, I think, on the ground. And I think that really completely upset upset all momentum. It didn't make the day better for Ajax in any way, and they're not doing it all well. And their decline actually is the indicator of just how far Dutch football has fallen. For me, Athens should win this 2-1. I don't see Ajax being able to get anything out of this.
So the next one is Real Betis versus Sparta Prague. Did I say it nicely?
Real Betis, Sparta Prague. Yes, you did.
So I predict a win for Sparta. No, for Real Betis 2-1.
I agree. 2-1.
So the next one is Aris versus Rangers. I'm going for a 2-1 prediction for Rangers.
I agree with you there. 2-1. I think Rangers obviously are trying to, take it slowly and play as well as they possibly can in this particular tournament, which might be more of their level. And I think, yeah, this should be a game where uh, where their experience and quality shows.
So the next one is Leipzig. No, sorry, Sporting CP versus Atlanta. I'm going for a 1-1 prediction here.
So you're saying it could be too close to call between these teams, huh?
Yeah.
Looks that way to me too. I think it'll be a 1-1 draw. I know that Sporting, of course, reached the quarterfinals last year, knocking us out in in the round of 16 before losing to Juventus. But I don't see this Sporting team. I mean, they could end up going qualifying from this group and going a good distance, but as of now, I think there is not much separating both these teams. So 1-1 each. I agree.
So the next one is Rako versus Stam. So I'm going for a 1-1 prediction. That's a draw. What's
Yeah, Rako Shestakova versus Sturm Graz.
yeah,
Yeah, very hard to tell. I mean, Polish against. I don't think they're Polish. I think they are a Czech team. I'm not too sure.
yeah. I think they check.
Yeah, and obviously the Austrian team. Yeah, no, I can't see beyond a 1-1 draw. You're right.
So the next one is Liverpool against Union said Garis. So I'm going
Saint-Gilloise.
for Union said what?
Union Saint-Gilloise.
Yeah. So I'm going for a
Saint-Gilloise.
2-0 predict. I'm going for a 2-0 prediction. I feel like Liverpool could play the second team here. Like
The pr-
not really the second team, but a
the
rotated
the prob
team.
yeah, the problem with that, of course, is you know, they had two people sent off when they played Tottenham, so Jota and Curtis Jones won't be able to play in the weekend. I think they're going to play this game, obviously, because suspensions in league action don't affect European games, and it could very well be that they play the likes of. I mean, I could see Quim and Kelleher in goal, and maybe one or two other changes, but some of the first team players will be brought on as subs. And this is a game, obviously, which Liverpool will need to win to try and um, recover from uh, that horrible last-minute loss at the Tottenham Stadium. So 3-0, they're going to need that confidence boost.
So the next one is Toulouse versus Lask. I'm going for a 2-1 win for the French team. What's your thoughts?
Yes, I agree with that. 2-1.
So the next one is like the Yellow Submarines the F- uh, versus Rennes. So I'm going for a 2-1 win for the Yellow Submarines.
Yeah, Villarreal. They should win this
Yeah,
one too. They're probably not doing as well as they should be doing in La Liga, but when it comes to European football, obviously, they won the Europa League. I want to say 2 seasons ago or three. It was in 2021 that they won it.
yeah, I
So
guess
obviously they're
that's
going to
was it
against
against
Manchester
us?
United.
Yeah, it
Yes,
was
no,
against
yeah,
it was
they beat they beat Arsenal in the semi-final and Manchester United in the final, and Unai Emery got his revenge. So, um, yeah, 2-1 for me as well. I think they will certainly win.
so the next one is Maccabi versus Panathinaikos. So I'm going for
Maccabi Haifa versus Panathinaikos. Yes.
yeah, so I'm going for Panathinaikos win of 2-0. What's your thoughts?
Hmm. Agree with that. Agree with that completely.
So the next one is Roma versus Servette. Did I pronounce it nicely?
Yeah, Servette.
Yeah, Servette. So your thoughts on it?
Roma haven't exactly been doing as well as their coach Jose Mourinho would like be hoping they'd be doing, and they're going to need a win in this particular game, and this should be the game in which they win. Should be an emphatic 3-1.
So the next one is La Slavia Parook versus Sheriff. I'm going for a 3-1 win for Slavia. What about you?
Ooh, yeah, easy. Slavia Prague should have too much for the Sheriffs.
So the next one is Leverkusen versus Molde. I'm going for a 4-0 win for Leverkusen. What's your thoughts?
I say 3-0. Bayer have been doing
3-0.
magnificently in the Bundesliga this season, but I don't see them going all out against the Norwegians that much.
Oh, so you'll see them like maybe rotating the squad.
Yeah, they'll have enough. They'll have too much for Molde, but I don't see them scoring as many as 4 goals. I think they'll keep it simple. I mean, three isn't exactly simple, but uh, they'll be fine.
So the next one is Hakken versus Karabakh. I've gone for a 2-0 win for Karabakh. What's your thoughts?
Hmm. Yeah, this is for Karabag against Hakan.
Yeah.
I think we also have to take into consideration a lot of political issues because you know there has been a lot of political turmoil going on for that particular team in question, for the nation of that team. I think I actually see this finishing in a draw, 1-1.
One.
I know. Yeah, I know that Karabakh have a habit of qualifying for the Europa League. Um, regularly, but I think with everything that's going on, I'm not too sure the players' minds will be on football very much.
What's happening in Karabakh?
The recent upheaval in the Nagorno Karabakh region of Azerbaijan. I mean,
So,
obviously, it's fallen back into Azerbaijani control, and a lot of people have started to, leave the area and vacate it. So I think that could be a problem.
so that could be a distraction.
Yes.
Okay, so we're moving to Conference League. So the first match is Kai versus Lille. I'm going for a prediction of 3-0. What's your prediction?
Yeah. Which country is that team KI from?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the country they are in the form. Let me search it up. It's from one of the islands of Fada, Faroe Islands.
Faroe Islands. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this should be an easy win for Lille, given it's 3-0. Yes, I agree.
So the next one is Olympique versus Slovan. I'm going for a 2-1 prediction for Slovan.
Olympique. Now, where is this from? Lyon. This is a French team. Olympique Lyonnais.
Olympic, no, not a French team versus. Let me
It must be Olympique Lyonnais then.
no, it's
I think.
Olympic para us.
Hmm. Must say I've never heard of them, but in that case, yes, I think Slovan should win this one, and I think 3-1. Yeah, 2-1 should be fine. 2-1.
Let me search to confirm the match. No, I think I wrote it down wrongly. It is only Paja, not PQ. I think this should be the right one.
Olympia. Ah,
So I think it was autocorrect that changed it to Olympic Q.
oh yeah, Olympia Ljubljana, and this is a team which is based in Slovenia. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So they're up against obviously Slovan Bratislava, I think, and yeah, I think Slovan will win this one easy, 2-1. You're right.
So the next one is Change versus Tel Aviv. So I went for a prediction of 2-1.
Yes, 2-1 as well is what I will go for this one. I think the Belgian team will have too much for the Israelis.
So the next one is Zoa versus I'm not sure how to pronounce the other team.
Breablik. Breablik.
Yeah. So I've gone for Zoa to win 2-0. What about you?
I'll go for 2-1. Same team winning, but 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
So you see them conceding.
Yeah.
So the next one is Balkani versus Dynamo Sabrak. So I'm going for Dynamo to win 3-0.
Yeah. Sounds right to me.
So the next one is Astana versus Victoria Plezi. So I'm going for a
Doesn't, yeah.
draw of 1-1.
I'm going for Victoria to win this 2-1.
2-1 against Astana.
Yes.
So the next one is Bordeaux versus Club Brugge. I'm going for Club Brugge to win 2-1 against Bordeaux.
3-1 for me.
So the next one is Istanbul versus Lugano. I'm going for a 2-0 prediction.
2-0 sounds right too. Yes.
So the next one is Aston Villa versus Serin Zerinjski. So I'm going for 2-1 prediction for 2-1 win for Aston Villa.
Why only 2-1?
I don't see Aston Villa. I see Aston Villa like rotating the squad, so I don't see them like if they rotate the squad, I don't see them winning as much.
But then that's the problem. They have to rotate because they have to obviously play some tough league games, and their squad is also. I mean, they now come to. I think Emery has come to realization that the squad is also paper thin. But having said that, I think it. I think Villa might have been, feeling a bit of pressure given that it was their first European game for more than 10 years, and maybe they just felt overawed by the occasion, perhaps. I think after the 6-1 win over Brighton, they know how well they can play, and they just need to make sure they get it together. And listen, it's going to be at home, so they are going to turn on the style in front of their fans. I predict a 3-1 win. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go for 3-0. I don't see this other team scoring.
Really?
Yeah, 3-0.
So the next one is Alkmaar versus Ligia. I'm going for 2-1 prediction. What's your prediction on this?
Ooh, this is interesting because Legia beat Aston Villa. Um, I would like to see Alkmaar beat Legia, but I don't know if that'll happen. I'm going for a 1-1 draw. Legia, of course, are Poland's top team, and yeah, it'll be 1-1. I think Legia are not going to want to lose to this team from a town in Holland which is more famous for its cheese than anything else.
So next one is Fortina versus Ferenc Ferencvaros.
Ferencvaros.
So I'm going for 2-1 win for Fortina. What's your prediction?
Hmm. I'll say 2-0. Um, yeah, 2-0. I think Fiorentina, of course, will run us up in last year's Conference League, and they're disappointed this time around.
So you're going for 2-0 win
Yes.
for Fortina. So the next one is Genk versus Suka Sukariki. So I'm going for 3-0
Kukurik.
prediction. I'm going for 3-0 win for
Yep.
Genk. Also, you're also going for
Yeah,
the
that
same.
sounds right. 3-0 to Genk. Yep. Yep.
So
Same.
next one is Frankfurt versus Puak. I'm going for a 3-0 prediction for Frankfurt. What about you?
Kiyoke Salonika. Yeah, that sounds right. Eintracht Frankfurt. I think they obviously are a team which has a pretty good history in Europe, but they're not really going to be very happy with being stuck in the Conference League. And they're going to want to make sure they make a statement um, for games like this. So, yeah, I think 3-0 should be just about right.
So the next one is Aberdeen versus H HJK. So I'm going for a
HJK,
two. Yeah, I'm going for two.
HJK
Yeah, I'm going for
2-0.
2-0 win for Aberdeen. You also lean or
HJK. I think Aberdeen will win, but 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
So the next one is Ferenbash versus Patak Ta Tavana.
Trnava.
So I'm going for a 2-1 win for the Turkish side.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, I'm going to go for the Turkish to win, but 2-0. They'll keep a clean sheet.
So this is the last match. So we're going for Lado Radogorets versus
Mhm.
North Gelad. So I'm going for a 1-1 prediction.
So the Danish against the Latvian team, I think, yes. And yeah, I agree with your prediction. 1-1.
1-0. So I think
Yeah.
we're done with the predictions. So
Yep.
I'll pin you so that you can give your like shout out.
Yeah. First of all, thanks a lot, Carl, for having me on, and sorry for the lateness and also the Wi-Fi issues. Always good to be on a stream with you and talk about European football and offer a few predictions. So, yeah, you can catch me on YouTube on several channels. Shout out to Oris Talks Football, Coach's Corner, and Del Boy Gunner TV, where um, I often host streams on those channels. I mean, I don't. I'm not actually the main person on those channels at all per se, but I am happy to be a big part, play whatever role I can for them. Also to Danny AFC TV, Tony Claude Gunner TV, Up the Cherries in all departments, the Bournemouth Fan Channel, AFC Talk Show TV, Villa TV, Eugen Spurs Asia TV, and several other channels, which at the moment I can't really name at present, but all of whom are quite special to me in many ways, and I'm always grateful to have an opportunity to go on these streams on YouTube and say what I want to say. On social media, you can catch me on Instagram at mannythungathero1981. That's my full name on the bottom left-hand corner and my year of birth. That's also my Threads ID. If you want to catch me on Twitter, it's just Thungathero1981, which is my surname and my year of birth. And I always say that we have to make sure that we respect one another whenever we come onto these streams, and always treat each other with decorum and dignity. If we can't agree to disagree without being disagreeable, there's no point in having a discussion. So let's treat each other better. And that's pretty much all there is to it. Thanks once again to Kyle. Thanks to everyone in the chat who's joined in. Take care of yourselves. I hope you've had a good weekend. If you are interested in watching some rugby, I do believe South Africa and Tonga will be playing in about 45 minutes from now, so you can tune into that. And there will obviously be some more football coming up next week, and more sporting action. And we are very close to the Cricket World Cup starting, which should be a great deal of fun. Until then, enjoy this upcoming week. Have a good evening and a good rest of your day and a good night wherever you are in the world. Stay safe, stay happy, and don't do anything that Kyle and I wouldn't do. For now, though, time for me to say goodnight. Cheers, everyone.
I'd like to end this stream. So I'd like to thank you guys for coming to watch the stream, to listen to our predictions. It has been entertaining. It has been nice to have Manny along, and we hope Manny can join in future streams as well, if he's whenever he's free.
Definitely look